Oracle comes out with mixed results after the bell, which is affecting software after hours. But let's go through some trades here today that look like they're starting to break out. Now, Tesla, we're just going to start here. This is in the top 10 video. Top 10 video will be linked at the end of this video. If you have not watched it, I strongly recommend you watch it before CPI tomorrow. Right in here, you can see every time we've gotten over there, we've kind of rejected, pulled back, over, kind of a red bar. And if you just keep looking at this over and over again, you're noticing a very particular pattern. While that pattern's going on, the 50-day keeps curling up. You're wedged in here right now, and I think that's really pertinent to understand. Now, if you've been watching the daily videos that we do, that we release, you know from about, I think, September 7th, we went long and started a long position. Now you're starting to flip DTLs or downward trend lines. So you definitely want to start keeping this in mind. You're going into CPI. We're going to go over CPI in a moment. So make sure you stay to listen to that because that's very important, especially even Germany's CPI. But you can see your levels here and you can start seeing where you could possibly get to. 320 is not a stretch on this at all. So it's definitely something that will be on my radar tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and click all notifications, the bell, because what we go over here is very timely. And if you're watching this a week or two from now, it just doesn't really have the same weight, right? You don't want to be looking at something that goes all the way back to 348 and you're looking at it 2 weeks ago. So just make sure you hit that bell. Oracle after hours, you closed at 77. You're sitting right now at 77.42. And that's after you ran the gambit on everybody and got knocked around a little bit. But the earnings really are not that bad. They're somewhat mixed and they are affecting some software companies after hours. So just to go through the highlights here, they missed by about 4 cents. Sales did not miss by a ton. You came in at 11.45 billion versus 11.46 billion. So a lot of this tonight is going to fall on the conference call, which has not taken place at the time of recording this. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to watch how this acts after hours. You're certainly going to want to watch this tomorrow and definitely watch how you act to that 200-day, which you have rejected over here. And since you've broken, you've been unable to get around. Why this time might be a little different is this is the largest incline that we have had on that 50-day in some time. And you're above all your little minor indicators. You're above your 5, you're above your 8. You actually got a little buy signal there, right there between the 5 and the 8. I think that this is setting up to possibly move, and you're seeing software look like it's getting ready to push a little higher. So IGV is the largest software sector ETF. I tend to look at cloud, but this one has more assets under management and it's easier to track. Now, I put this in last night's newsletter and there's a free version of the newsletter below, link in description. But you see this V that you have going on here? You're trying to form a bottom. Now, whether that holds or doesn't hold, it remains to be seen. But it's very different when you have a sloping line pointing down like you do here versus a line that's starting to pointing up, right? The game's changed a little bit. The angle's changed a little bit. And I would pay attention to the slope just as much as I would pay attention to whether or not you're over or under it. So watch that because the slope is more significant because it takes longer to develop. If you see this moving up, it fits in perfectly with some of the other names that we were watching. This was in the top 10 on Saturday. We talked about if it got over 188, it could push. It's exactly what it did. Really looking like this 206 is next. It's really going to be dependent upon CPI tomorrow, and we'll get into that in a moment. But you're flipping key levels, and there's really very little to stop this in here from pushing yet again. So I would just tell you to focus on where the money is going, and the money is going into names like ZS. See how the Oracle conference call goes tonight. You're seeing that in Tesla. Apple was another one that we should really focus on. This is from the newsletter. Obviously, we weren't able to get in it today at 58.10. If you just did the auto buy, you just would have gotten in 159.57. So if you did the auto buy, if not, you waited to just see at that point if it got over this line with 60.40, 60.50 would have been your area. Either way, we were up about $3.50, $4 on it. And you came right into this resistance point. But that doesn't mean the trade's over. That just means you're at a resistance point. Depending upon CPI tomorrow, you're going to want to watch this. I still have this position on. We trimmed into this, but I still have this position on and I like it. And I think it can work. I think iPhone sales are going to be fairly decent. They're shaping up to be. And all this This all happened because of Jackson Hole. Going into CPI tomorrow is going to be really interesting, and I'm really looking forward to just getting it behind us, quite frankly. Watch this and watch if you make a higher high, because I don't know how long people are just going to stay out of the way and say that and be in disbelief that we're actually rallying. That doesn't seem to be the strategy that's working right now. Another one that people were trading in the room, I have a short that I'm going to show as well, but this software, and you came out with earnings, and the earnings were excellent. And what you're seeing is you're seeing these trades actually develop. So you're seeing them rally up, pull back to levels, find support at those levels, break through again, rally back down, test. So you had a test here, rallies through, retest, consolidates, and then goes again. So this kind of stuff, this kind of behavior, this is really promising. So I know we have quad witching this week, so we're going to have to watch that. We have to know that the Fed's next week as well, but we have to get through tomorrow first, CPI, and we're going to address that in a minute. But put this on your list. So I am still short this. It did reverse today. What I find intriguing about this particular pattern, and we'll find out very clear tomorrow which way we're going to go. Right now, I have a double inside day. So this bar is inside this one. This bar is inside that one, right? Not rocket science. These tend to move very violently. So when you have a double inside day, what you do is you have buyers and sellers fighting after this, right? You can see how the range narrows. We know that these bars are made up of smaller bars. So if you drill down into that, you're going to get the story, right? So you can see how that line is sloping. You can see how you're getting tighter in here. This was your level. And now you're at this level right up here. You're trying to hold on to, trying to find some support. So when you start seeing this, and you start seeing them getting tighter and tighter, and then it kind of starts picking a direction, this is kind of a tell already which way we're probably going to go. Now, you don't know that till tomorrow, but if you're looking for a short idea, if this market gets weak, I'd be really careful about shorting strength. I'd be looking for stocks that people are up in, and they might not want that risk. So this is definitely going to be on my radar tomorrow to add to the short, but I just, disclosure, I am already short. Now, as for what to watch for tomorrow, you have Germany CPI that comes out at 2 a.m. Eastern time. If you remember, the market dropped precipitously. It was because a German CPI number came out and blew the estimate away. It actually sold the U.S. market and all global markets off because it was just so staggering, the number. I don't know enough to tell you what this number is going to come out as, but just understand this comes out at 2 o'clock in the morning. After that, you have this economic sentiment that's going to tell you what people think. Obviously, that's not really going great, and that can affect the global markets. Germany's a huge GDP contributor to the global markets, so keep that in mind. It's all one big trade right now. Core CPI tomorrow is what we're really mainly focused on, 0.3. Core CPI year over year, 6.1. Core is without food and energy. Regular year over year, people will be watching 8.1. Month over month, they're looking for a decline. It's been a nice long time since we've seen a decline, so that would be great. To put it in perspective, this is where you were last during the forecast. And if you want to see your last negative decline, okay, it didn't happen until you didn't have one in 2021, and you're looking to have the last one was around Christmas 2020. So that would be absolutely huge if that happens, and it would show that inflation is under control, but we need to see if that's actually going to happen. As far as the indexes, you just really want to see how we play out here. Again, if you just focus on these key levels, you're above the 50, the 200 sloping down. If you throw the 21 in, this was pretty poetic. You stopped right on it. I like using simple moving averages versus exponential. Exponential tend to just front load the first 3 days. So this gives you, to me, gives you just a clearer picture on where all the players are. But you can retest this at 426. Obviously, you're going to have to watch this 420 level first. Now, in regards to the Qs, just watch how you act in here. This is very clean. It doesn't get any cleaner, right? You need to really watch. Let's clean all this off. You really need to watch this core level right there and make sure you get above that 21 and that you don't close below that 50. So that's it. I wish everybody well tomorrow. Trade to win. If you are interested in the trading room, there is a preview link right here in the top right corner. Have a great night, everybody.